So why does the video look so grainy? Um, it's actually midnight. It's like 12:25. That might be like there's really just no ambient light. Um, okay, I'll do a vlog, a video log, which coincides. Oh my god, now I'm nervous. Fuck. Fuck, so much. I don't use this YouTube channel to even try and appear normal. Fuck, like, where the fuck do I begin? My mom's a bitch. My mom doesn't speak. Okay, I started this thing called the Fashionably Pious League, and it's meant to be a youth movement towards bringing awareness to the issue of parentification, that affords young people legal representation for the sake of taking to court their parents. And it's because that's what I need. I'm looking like right there. I was like so fucking close to bashing my head on the concrete because I was just crying. And yesterday I was crying for like 2 hours. Daydreaming is awesome. It's a huge part of anyone's healthy psychological process, especially if they're interested in the arts, where like artwork is kind of, it's that you want to feel the artwork, but you only see them in books, and so you do close your eyes and imagine what it would be like to be in front of the art. The same thing for like doing pottery, how you kind of have a really strong hand, eye, hand-eye coordination connection, and you kind of are able to like relieve anxiety by like closing your eyes and fixating on the repetitive, the healthy movement of like working with clay. This girl asked me out. We hung out. It was awesome. I learned a lot about myself the 24 hours after. There was a lot that we had in common that, like, and the thing about being Canadian is like we're all immigrants, and like we had a regional similarity outside of the country of Canada. And like fuck, I started daydreaming about this, and then days later, I was daydreaming about what it would have been like what it would be like. My God, I'm so stressed. To be in a relationship with her, married, kids, and like I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, my parents don't play a big role in my life. Where I don't practice self-control. Where I do practice self-control, they do have a large impact because these are some fucked up parents. I called my mom today and I told her she was delusional, and that's actually a really good like way to create a boundary, given our circumstances, because the alternative is essentially internalizing trauma and taking her to court. The relationship I have with my mom has absolutely eroded. She has become so comfortable with her um, like Eastern European attention to like um, to persona. I forget what the term is, but it's like just her commitment to um, like other people's opinions of them, of these Eastern Europeans, that like she essentially with zero English is threatened by my communication on with communication with her now. Um, I was just thinking, and this is essentially, I am in a bad place relative to my family, and I've made the conscious effort to actually distance myself from this girl, because there's no way, like, if her and I started dating, that I would be able to like not control myself from falling in love with her. And you just have to be mature about it. It's the wrong, like, it's the wrong place, wrong time. Um, and that's actually what I was crying about. Now that I'm remembering, 2 hours I was crying at the wrong place, the wrong time. And it's that um, my parents have been parentifying me my entire life, and it's just like really come to a head now where like like the cultural differences are so severe that like any attempt to even create a bridge between us um, has resulted in like absolute obliteration on her end. Calling her like she doesn't like being called a cunt. And sure, but she doesn't know what that means. She doesn't like being called a bitch. She doesn't know what that means. Like, she didn't like being called delusional, but it's like actually, like, if you knew the fucking family story, you, I challenge you to be as resilient of a person as I am. Um, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I am queer. The thing about me is that I just exude privilege. If you've never seen privilege, I'm just like tall, white, male, spoken in English, and so I've learned, and especially as an Eastern European, gender dynamics are extremely clear, robust, and like straightforward. So you can't um, essentially have a queer identity. And so when I talk publicly about cultural issues, it essentially lands on like deaf ears because people want to project like agency onto me and be like, well, you're an oppressor. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna hide at my place. In which case, and the thing about her is that and the first time ever, I like, that's what I learned so much in those 24 hours. It's like, holy shit, like, I'm literally hiding myself from myself, and am only able to allow it to come out under particular circumstances because my previous girlfriend actually doesn't like queer people, or, okay, doesn't like dating queer people. Um, and this girl made me feel so safe that I learned about myself, like, unprovoked. And yeah, being able to cry, like, process emotions. And it's that, um, like, my parents have to be taken to court. There's no, I go to see a psychologist. My psychologist is kind of acting like a jackass now. My parents have gotten my mom has gotten way too comfortable, like, parentifying me. Um, I was thinking about it. like you have to understand that I have gone to psychotherapy for 11 years. Um, like I have boundaries psychologically, which is not usually the case. Like to practice on myself, I have a map. It just came about naturally by like consistently going to psychotherapy, and so I can do things that other people can't. Like for example, logically conclude what the outcome of a relationship would be based off of um, circumstances that I've interpreted that are psychological. Um, and it's that I intuitively understand that my mom's ability to cross boundaries as a parentifying parent um, creates the circumstances that she will, like the thing about her not being able to speak English is that her language skills, our conversations have completely eroded, which means her parentifying effort, which is constantly encroaching onto my identity, into my private life, into my life, um, has no way to stop. Um, there's no accountability. It's like literally, if I say anything, she talks about getting a restraining order on me all the time. It's like, mom, like I explained to her, listen. So my mom gets me conceived to a husband that's absent. She gets into a car accident before I'm born. When I'm before the age of 3, I'm in Poland. I get a huge burn, which is pretty big as an adult. You could imagine what it was like as a child. She raises me in a home of really shitty men. When I'm 17, I have a crisis of morals. Um, Immediately go to psychotherapy so I can figure it out. I learned the psychoanalytic method intuitively, um, not immediately, but over the course of 11 years, spent 3 visits at the psych ward, have no career, have no education. I'm realizing to what extent I've been parentified and developing a little sense of so, and then just recently, like in the last 2 months, I was able to convince my mom to go to psychotherapy with me. And this bitch is so fucking rude to me. Um, Acting like I'm manipulating her into going to psychotherapy. But if you knew the backstory, fuck, I literally fucking can't. Um, and it's that in her going to psychotherapy, turns out actually I'm not in crisis. I'm not some like perpetual creative. I'm actually a very like I am actually the definition of normal in that essentially only someone who can articulate their normality is normal. Because it's just a frame of which to look through onto the world, and I can articulate it as a function of having gone to psychotherapy and having a particular interest on the issue, as it has to do with maintaining homeostasis, which is important to me, given that the thing about parentification is that I have to operate as an individual with relationships that do not correctly satisfy inherent biological desire, does not create biological results that my brain needs to function, and so I need to supplement them somehow. And so by her going to psychotherapy, things start changing in my life. I develop a sense of autonomy, which is profound. I started the first level of the swimming course to become a swim instructor for some reason. But I love water, and so it's actually really straightforward why I did it. But not that I was able to attract this girl, but like my normality grew, like as a sensible aspect of who I am. And yeah, I did cut it. I have cut it off. So don't even think for a moment that I don't know better, given my circumstances, as to whether or not I should even try to pursue her, and vice versa if she's to keep talking to me. And it's that my mom would encroach on that relationship to the extent that it would actually put to detriment the relationship I have with my imaginary wife and kids. And then she would say, oh, Austin, like, you're not an adult, you can't handle this. But it's like, no, bitch, you're a parentifying parent.